All right, you can see that the government kind of started an autocracy, using me since I was 12 years old and all my court records for what their truths were, and leaked intelligence for their excuse to leak that intelligence to my contracts, and then start an autocracy, an autocratic government, where essentially when we give ourselves immunity, we could just make up excuses and keep predicting people's lives, whatever, car crashes, deaths in their family, whatever the fuck we want, medical issues. And then we could go all the way with Susan Bonamici and her January 15th, 2023 car wreck, and say that the whole nation did this because with the autocracy of the government, if we get the to agree that they're under enough threat by the Democrats, and the Democrats to say that, let's say the special election with David Wu and Susan Bonamici comes into play with Michael Simon being under threat by what you would say the Junkway hit. And that's why Judge Taylor always talked about the Junkway hit, because Judge Taylor was saying not Michael O'Shea, but Michael Simon was under threat in what happened in, actually it was on Southeast Broadway in Portland, when we were coming back up to Junkway and shit. Fucking that car wreck happened, and then, you know, 3 or 2 other cars wrecked, kind of like the one at Rocky Point Stables. Like this one wasn't where like there was a guy with pills that fell out of his pockets and beer cans out of his car. Everybody got fucked up in this wreck. And anyways, you could say that was a threat on Michael Simon. You could say that was a threat on Dylan Galbraith and Brent, because Brent filled Levi's spot, so they couldn't threaten Levi that day, even though they're still putting Levi under threat and his military credentials, because I went there and then I had Dylan work for us for free because I needed a witness to that. So sorry, Dilly Buster, but you know, that wreck was something me and you had to witness for some political shit, bud. But you use that, and you use the autocratic way of all of my contracts, getting them to see one-sided views and saying if you just don't view it the way that they view it, everybody doesn't get paid out, and therefore they'll threaten to kill you. So there you have your way of saying that we get to predict Susan Bonamici and Michael Simon, threaten Michael Simon, keep them under threat, use the threat in Portland on January 15th, 2023 on the MLK Shabbat stuff, and then say that we were civilly using predicted movements of people for a criminal organization that was created to leak intelligence to cause lawsuits for false informants that committed fraud, because real informants already had the leaked intelligence inside the government that were all employees, and they did not nefariously use it like the criminals on the street that they trained to be toss-outs and thrown out besides themselves in the government. And therefore you get your autocracy, you get your bull-eye complaint with Norm Miller, you get your toss-out of Doug Grison's bull-eye complaint, you get the David Wu, Susan Bonamici election being used for the Martwick Callahan election, you get your MAGA election fraud, you get your federal lawsuits, state racketeering pushed under the rug, you get the federal government under threat, you get people in Salem under threat, and initially you have control of whatever the fuck you want in Oregon. Also, it's an autocracy.